Hey guys, it's Chris from Clearview Solutions. I'll do a quick video of my detailing arsenal. These are the items that I use. I have a lot of stuff. Some of it gets used more than others. But this is everything I have right here in the storage bins and on the shelves. This is all my detailing arsenal right here with the exception of a few things. But I want to do a video, let you know what I have, and also try to touch on the necessities, things you'll need. You don't have to have all this to start a detailing business or detail your own vehicles, but I will do a quick overview of the necessities that you will need. Alright, so first up we'll go over the wash chemicals. These are what I use left to right. I use the Honeydew Snow Foam and Auto Wash from Chemical Guys. Car Pro Lift, I use those two in the foam cannon. Use Optimum No Rinse when I do no rinse, and I also use that for a clay lube. Then one that I really love and I like to use a lot is Car Pro Reset. Car Pro Reset and I use Car Pro Lift together. Then there's the 3D Nano Pail, it's the super soap. And that's one I like to use on things that have, or cars that have like wax, sealant, things of that nature, or ceramic coating on it. That way I know I'm not going to do anything to the wax or the sealant. Ceramic coatings are pretty resilient, but you still do need to be careful in what you use. Then I use Car Pro Bug Out for the bugs, and I also use 3D Bug Remover. A lot of people don't like Chemical Guys. Mr. Pink is a good universal soap. You can use the Mr. Pink in a foam cannon. You can also use it in the bucket. And that's probably what makes it so good. But when I do a wash, if it's a unit or a car that I'm going to be putting a wax or a sealant on, I'll use the Car Pro Reset and the Car Pro Lift together to make sure that I get it good and clean, pull all the stuff off of it, and make sure the surface is as good as possible before I clay it and apply the sealant. I'll use the 3D on units that have wax or sealant, and then I'll use the Mr. Pink also on units that have wax or sealant, because I know it's not going to do anything to damage it. It's hard to say about the Car Pro Reset. I do try to stay away from using it on units that have a wax or a sealant on them. But those are my go-tos for washing. As you can see, Mr. Pink does get used a lot. I also use the Reset a lot, and I do like the Nano Pail to use it a lot. One thing I do like to do though, if I'm doing just a regular maintenance wash, is I'll use Mr. Pink in the foam cannon, and I'll use the 3D Nano Pail super soap in the bucket. So, these are the chemicals that I use for washing the exterior. Alright, next up is the wheel and tire cleaners that I use. First is the Meguiar's Detailer Wheel Brightener. It's an acidic type wheel cleaner. When I use it, I don't use it, and I use it, but I don't scrub it. I spray it on the tire, I let it sit for maybe 30 seconds, no more than a minute. Then I rinse it off real good with the pressure washer. Then there's the Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner. I really like that product. It works really well. Gets dust off. You can use it on the wheels and the tires. Kind of a kill two birds with one stone type deal. And do that and use it that route. But you spray it on, let it sit for about 30 seconds to a minute, then get your wheel brush and scrub. Then there's also this new one. I haven't gotten a chance to use it a lot, but I see a lot of rave reviews, and this is the P&S Brake Buster. I've heard very good things about it. One particular review that I saw is that it's probably the closest thing to an acidic based wheel cleaner that you're going to get, but I can't wait to use that. And one that I also use or have used a lot is the Chemical Guys Diablo wheel cleaner. Works pretty good. I have to give the edge though to Meguiar's, only because you can buy it in bulk and you can mix it and you can get a better deal on it doing it that way. And also Meguiar's does have an edge on cleaning. And then another thing you need to consider when you have adding to your arsenal for cleaning wheels is an iron remover, such as Car Pro Iron X. It's probably one of my favorites, which I haven't run across an iron remover that was terrible, from as long as it's from the major brand companies. But I use the Iron X Car Pro, and I've also used the Adams iron remover. Both work really well. But these are what I use for the wheels. At the end of the detail, since we're talking about wheel and tire cleaners, these are what I use. These are my go-tos for wheel dressings. You have the Silk Shine dressing from Chemical Guys. It works pretty good. leaves a very matte finish, but it's like a deep dark matte finish. It almost looks like a new tire. Looks pretty good. Then this one I've used recently. I'm not much of a tire gloss guy, but this is tire gloss gel from Sonax. It works pretty good. And then CarPro Pearl, usually dilute it about 1:1 and use it that way, and it works pretty good. And it's all CarPro Pearl's also pretty good for not slinging. And I can also say I haven't had any slinging issues with the Sonax, the gel, or the chemical guy Silk Shine. Silk Shine's probably not technically a tire dressing, but it does look good when you put it on tires, especially if you do not like the shine look. These are what I use to do the tire dressings with at the end of a detail. All right, next up we'll talk about claying. So you got a few different things you can do with clay. The two items I use are actual clay bar itself and a clay mitt. And the reason why I have the Optimum No Rinse up is that I make homemade clay lube. You can buy your own clay lube on any detailing website or Amazon, but I choose to make it myself. I usually use an ounce and a half to about a 20-ounce spray bottle of water. But these are what I use to clay with. The clay mitt is pretty good, but when you feel like a real rough texture on paint, I would opt to go with the clay bar if I was making the suggestion. So these are the things I use. I use the clay mitt, use the clay bar, and I use Optimum No Rinse to make homemade clay lube. All right, next up we'll talk about panel prep. So there's a few different ways you can go with panel prep. You can make your own homemade. I do mine IPA 60-40, 60% alcohol, 40% water. I like using that because it usually dries pretty fast when you wipe over it and you don't have any streaking issues. It seems like with the more alcohol you use in the mix. Some people don't use that much, but that's what I use. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure the panel's prepped. You want to make sure anything on there, like any remnants of wax or sealant, are off of there also. And you can also go the route of using CarPro Eraser. CarPro Eraser does work pretty good, but it's more cost effective to make your own IPA. There is also some people that make IPAs homemade that they put Windex in, so you can look that up on YouTube and find out. But my go-to right here is the IPA 60% mixed with 40% of water. And then on the paint prep side, you go back to the iron remover. So Iron X, you put Iron X on before you actually clay the car to try to get any type of iron particles or remnants on the paint off of it before you start the claying process. So this is what we used. All right, next up is the compounds and polishes that I use. So I don't really use many compounds and polishes of different types. Two of my favorite compounds that I use are the Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound and the Sonax Cut Max. Sonax Cut Max works pretty good on paint combined with the right pad, and the Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound works pretty good on a pad, but it also works pretty good using it for a rubbing compound on a microfiber. So you can get in those tight, hard to reach places and it'll work pretty good. It does take a little effort, but you can use it. Also, it's 3D1, so you can see I have tape on the bottle. I dropped the bottle and the head broke off, but this is 3D1 here in the middle. It's a good all-in-one. Use it with a Euro pad or a cutting pad, it'll cut. Use it with a finishing pad or a polishing pad and it'll polish. So it's very versatile. It works on minor paint corrections. You can do a paint correction with just that bottle alone. All right, my next two, my favorite polishes are 3D speed polishes, but it also lays down a little protection in the process. And then CarPro Essence. CarPro Essence is what I use before putting on a ceramic coating. And CarPro Essence is actually, it labels itself as a primer for a ceramic coating. So all of these work good, but these are my go-tos right here as far as compounds and polishes. I really like them a lot. But 3D, if you only had to pick one to use, I would go with 3D1. But if you needed a good compound and a good polish that were standalones from each other, you can't go wrong with either of these combos. All right, next up we'll talk about sealants and waxes and spray sealants. So starting from the left, one of my favorite and one of my go-tos is the Meguiar's Mirror Glaze Synthetic Sealant 2.0. It's purple. Usually lays down, in the best case scenario, about 6 months of protection. Then you have the Wolfgang Deep Gloss Paint Sealant. Works pretty good too. Then in the middle have waxes, Colanite Colinite is very good. It's very versatile. You can lay it down over, rather, almost anything. Then you have the 3D epoxy. Then on the right, starting in the small bottle, you have OptiSeal. It's kind of a drying aid. Then you have the Hybrid Solutions graphene infused Flex Wax from Turtle Wax. It's their Hybrid Solutions Pro line. Then you have the 303 nano coating, and the two on the right are the Apex surface protection. You have the Rehydra bead and the Rehydra sheath. These are good when you do a maintenance wash on a ceramic coating. It's good to put these over as kind of an extra layer over the ceramic coating, and it'll kind of rejuvenate the beading process or the sheeting process, whatever you like out of the ceramic coating. The good thing about the Apex, per the man that stands behind the product, Brian, is you can use it on pretty much any ceramic or metal oxide coating out there, so that's great. But these are what I use. If I had to pick one, if you were just starting out or wanting to do your own vehicle, I'd probably go with the synthetic sealant, the Meguiar's Miraglaze Synthetic Sealant 2.0. As far as a wax, I really like 3D epoxy wax, and also the Colinite Insulator 845 wax. It's pretty good. But as far as a spray sealant, if you were just putting a spray sealant on your car, you didn't want to take the time to put on a gel type sealant, I'd probably go with 303 graphene nano spray. You can't go wrong with the Hybrid Solutions either. But if you have a ceramic coating and you're trying to take care of it, I would go with the Rehydra bead or the Rehydra sheet from Apex Surface Protection. It's made to go on top of coatings. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this one. This will be part one. But these are what I use. Like I said, you can't go wrong with anything that I've shown. I do have a lot more than what I have shown so far. Just some of them don't cut it for me, so that's the reason why I didn't feature them in the go over. If I had to pick some, I would probably, just for starting out, if you only had to have one soap, I would go with the Mr. Clean or the 3D Super Soap. If you had a ceramic coating or you wanted to put on a ceramic coating or put on sealant, I would use the Reset and the Lift. If you just wanted just a standalone soap that could do everything, you could go with the Chemical Guys. On the other stuff, like the wheel cleaner, if you had to pick one standalone, I would probably go with the Meguiar's wheel cleaner right here. It could be a standalone, it could take care of business. And if I had to pick one tire gel, I would probably go with the Silk Shine from Chemical Guys. It's just kind of what I like. I don't like gloss on a tire. I like a deep, rich, black matte finish on it when I finish. As far as claying, you can go any route you want. If I had to pick one to tell you to go on to learn, I would pick a clay bar. Doesn't really matter which brand, just make sure it's a good clay bar. And clay lube, use the Optimum No Rinse, or if you don't want to buy a whole bottle of Optimum No Rinse to make clay lube, just order some clay lube online and have it shipped to you. There's a lot of options out there for ordering things. Auto Geek, they periodically do 25% off sales, and it's almost everything they have in stock when they do it. And you can go to Autopia.com also. They're pretty much the same company, different websites, but they also do the same thing with the sales with the 25% off. And also Autopia, if you are in business, Autopia does have a wholesale program, so you can check that out also. Alright, well that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. If you will, hit the like button and subscribe for future content. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section. Any suggestions or anything you'd like to see on a video on, put that in the comments also. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for this part, guys. I'll post a second part to follow up with this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day.